Now. Oh, we're live.
That's a lot quicker than normal.
Oh, crap. What episode are we up to? 26. Alrighty. What's up, guys and girls? Welcome to episode 26 of the CasualCast. I'm your host, Sam Nicholson, joined alongside by Ben Story, as always. How you doing, big fella?
Howdy do, Mr. Stambo. I'm doing well. What's been going on? I know the answer. I just want you to say it. What's the one thing you've been doing for the last week? What's the one thing that is the constant talk of the town?
Wishing I was dead. Uni, I guess. Busy with uni and doing Banter Lab things and Arrogant Aussie things. And now we're getting another project up and running, which we'll also talk about this episode soon. And all of those delightfully devilish things.
Yeah, not missing anything? There's nothing there you want to share with the kids? No insight into a certain game? Nothing like that?
I don't want to talk about it because it's just crushed my soul, and that's the reason that I want to die. But I've been playing so much Kingdom Hearts, so much of it, and I've been stuck on this one boss, the last goddamn boss, for the last 2 or 3 days, maybe. The game just doesn't work. The camera's shit. These battles where you have to fly around are shit. They're just not built well, and that's because it's an old game. It could have been fun for the time, but
poor craftsman will blame his tools, Sam. A poor craftsman.
I'm not blaming my tools. I'm blaming the game. The controller's my tool, technically. But it's just been driving me mad, like really, really mad. And the save system is broken because you have to save. It's the last save point in the game. It's 3 bosses prior to where I'm up now. So I have to leave my PlayStation running when I'm not playing it, so that I don't lose my progress on the other bosses, because one of them was also really hard. What kind of idiot decided that?
Why don't you just try beating it?
What do you think I've been doing the past 3 days? Ben was in party chat with me for the one before this boss, which was also really, really hard. And I think the whole time I look at him, he was just swearing and getting angry and throwing my controller and stuff like that. Just getting so angry. How do kids beat this game, man?
What was that, sorry?
How did kids beat this game?
I don't know. I mean, look, I never remember it being that absurdly hard. Then again, it was quite many years ago. And I still haven't got up to where you are in my current playthrough. But, I mean, that's kind of the sad thing. I did it as a younger child. Can't remember it being that hard. Would have played it on normal. And you're at a current stage playthrough now, and you've been stuck for 3 days.
Yep, I'm also playing on normal. I'm just, I don't know. I feel like when I was a kid, I probably would have had the patience for something like this. And it would have been like the one game that I would have had for the year as well. So, every minute I could get with it where I hadn't beaten it would have been great. But I'm just like, I just want to finish this one so I can finish the next 10 spin-offs before I can get to Kingdom Hearts 2. So that way I can finish Kingdom Hearts 2. So I'm ready for Kingdom Hearts 3. And then I also want to finish Horizon and all the other games from last year before Ni no Kuni 2 comes out at the end of the month.
I'm happy that you've been finishing games, though. This is a nice change from the last couple of weeks. With your vast amount of games that you've not quite finished, but you've bunkered down and you've finished a couple, and we're making progress is the main thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a big-ass backlog. Like, I still haven't even finished Witcher 3 from 3 years ago, but, what can you do? Before we really get into, because that kind of ties into the topic, but before we really get into that, I do actually want to talk about what the new project is that I kind of mentioned earlier, just on the sly. So Ben and I, we both really like a certain sport. What sport's that, Ben?
It's crochet. Professional crochet.
You saw a little hint of it at the end of the last episode with our crochet commentary, but unfortunately, it isn't crochet. I feel like I'm a little too passionate about that sport, and I just couldn't be unbiased at all if I talked about it.
You do follow Granny Hot Lips very, very closely, don't you? Or every move.
She's the hottest player in the game. The way she uses those finger techniques and stuff, man, it's hot and juicy.
Why do they call her Granny Hot Lips, though? Like, what's that thing that she does with her mouth that really gets you, going? Because I know that everyone who follows the crochet sport knows why she's called Granny Hot Lips. Can you just quickly explain why that is?
It's because those lips are made for kissing, Ben. Just straight up kissing.
Oh, yeah, no. The name implies that. Don't act like I'm dumb. You can't weasel through this. You have to tell me that action she does while she's crocheting. What does she do? You got to give us that visual representation.
She makes out with the many boys who are infatuated with her crochet abilities. But no, the new project that we're doing, we both really like rugby league and the NRL. So we're actually going to be doing a brand new podcast all about that. We came up with the name for it like not even 5 minutes ago. It will be called The Bunker, because everyone's favorite part of the game these days is definitely the bunker, getting sent up there and then screwing up every decision.
Oh, yeah.
But essentially, it'll be a fortnightly rugby league podcast that'll be on all podcast services, where we just talk about pretty much the round coming up, some of the news that's going on, our predictions and tips and stuff like that, and maybe a little bit of NRL fantasy too.
Get into that. Depends on how salty you get this year, Sam, if you can keep up with me. Just going to lay that banter down right now. Are you any better, you reckon?
At NRL fantasy? Oh, God, no, I'm as hopeless as always. No, I'm hopeful about the team that I've got coming off the bat, but you never know with this goddamn game.
Should be good. But yeah, no, I mean, because the casual cast is coming into its later stage, we feel like we have the ability to take on another with a sport, as you said, that we very much enjoy. And so I think the format that we're going to do with that is we're going to try and push for around 30 to 40-minute ones, talking about the topics that he mentioned and bringing it out bi-weekly, I believe. Every Wednesday bi-weekly, yeah?
Fortnightly.
That's what we decided.
Definitely fortnightly.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was some chat about that bi-weekly thing. We won't worry about it. It's fortnightly. So yeah, stay tuned to sink your teeth into that one, because I think we're going to start it this week, I believe.
Yeah, we're actually recording the first episode straight after this. Hopefully it'll be approved on iTunes by Wednesday, which is when we plan to release. So the Casual Cast will come out Wednesdays, the Bunker will come out Wednesdays, and we'll be all sweet. Were we talking about doing it bi-weekly? I can't even remember. We'll sort that out.
There's a lot of talk going on. You said some things, I said some things. We didn't mean it. We've moved on. You paid the remunerations. What is it? I don't even know that word. Remunerations. My mouth does not work. It's with. So you've paid all those to me, and we've moved on. It's fine.
Yeah, it was looking like a horrible divorce, but we got through it in the end. But yeah, so definitely get excited for that if you like rugby league, or even if you don't. I feel like it could be quite a fun podcast that we do. We both, I don't know, both of us love rugby league quite a fair bit. We could talk about it endlessly. So I'm really excited for that one. But the first topic of the Casual Cast today, we wanted to talk about bosses because of this goddamn boss that I've been stuck on, Ansem, in his like 50th fucking form. I don't know, you beat him and then he gets bigger. But yeah, he's been driving me crazy. And then it got Ben and I thinking, what are some of the bosses that we might have had a lot of trouble with or really enjoyed playing against in our vast gaming history? So did you want to kick us off, Ben?
Yep. Okay, so I've got a couple that I've thought up of over my years accumulating these bosses that I've may have easily defeated or not so easily defeated. Did you want us to start with, like, what do you reckon, our favorite bosses of all time? Or should we go with the hardest or least favorite? We'll go one for one kind of thing.
I mean, some people would say that the hardest are their favorites. It's a pretty subjective thing. I would say just maybe ones that are standout bosses to you.
Standout bosses to me. Okay, so I think the most standout boss that I can think of that I versed would have to be in the original Dark Souls series, playing through with Ornstein and Smaug, or Smorf, or how the fuck you say it. I don't even know. That is easily one of the hardest gaming things that I have done in my life. Versing these two people that not only with the smaller of the two standing multiple times higher than you, but there being a second person, which is a weird thing for Dark Souls to have two enemies to fight at once, where the second person is double the size of the mini version. But yeah, no, I remember countless hours of trying to get through them and finally beating the first one, only to find out that the amount of damage that I've done to the other one has now been fully healed, and now they're significantly more stronger. I think that is probably the closest I've got to where Sam is right now, trying to beat Ansem, because fuck me, did that put me through some trials, really. I had to go back and a lot of time spent thinking about where I was going with my life and moving on from there. But in the end, it was very, very fucking fulfilling when I beat them. Finally putting my dodge single attack play into effect, and after what probably was like 40 minutes beating that big-ass bastard Ornstein. Stupid hammer-looking dickhead. I hated that. But no, and they're also some of the most unique ones and memorable, just looking at them, that the gilded armor with the big giant hammer that is so much bigger than you, and the smaller one who's a lot quicker. They're well thought out enemies, as well as an enjoyable experience to play through it if you do like those like hard mechanics and dodging and skill-based kind of things, I guess. So I think they're the ones that, when I think of gaming bosses, it stands out the most straight away because it is such an iconic duo.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say that's one that I've played myself.
You wouldn't survive. I'm just going to put that out there right now. You wouldn't survive. That would be your undoing. And hopefully, if I can get you to, or get you to sit down and play them one day, and we'll videotape that undoing.
Yeah, possibly. That'd be a fun series for anyone but me, but I'll give that a crack for the entertainment of our many fans. But yeah, actually, that boss that you were talking about in like a Souls kind of game definitely comes into one of my bosses that I'll be talking about later. But the one that I really want to kick it off with is one from Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden. His name, I'm pretty sure it was Mitsuo. It was either Mitsui or Mitsuo. Essentially, through the story, he was this kid who was like real creepy and wanted to date one of the girls who you're friends with in the game, Yukiko. And there's a serial killer who's killing everyone in this small town that you're living in. That's the premise of the game. And Mitsuo, in an effort to get attention from Yukiko, admitted that he was a serial killer. Whether he is or isn't, you don't know. But you go and fight him, and you're in this like the dungeon for this one's like a really cool video game world. But taking him on was really, really, really difficult. Like I remember, I think I spent a good week on that boss, just as frustrated as I am with Ansem, because I was really under-leveled. But that's one that stood out to me because I really liked the character and where the story started going around there. But I probably won't spoil it too much if you ever plan on playing Persona 4, which you should. It's shorter than Persona 5, don't worry.
I mean, that doesn't give me much solace. Persona 5 took many a day of my life away. It still has some left to take away.
As many.
I mean, I don't know, many days to give at the moment. Look at me.
Oh, you're not an old
man. I'm on the way out,
man.
Practically.
Play one of the best games of all time. Come on. But
one foot in the grave, one foot in the morgue. One arm at the shop.
Where's the other arm?
Much like Rodney's dad in Robots, I am an old dishwasher that is in need of some upgrades.
Let's make a baby. That's the best part. What a great movie. I don't know why you keep referencing it lately, but...
because I've told you it was on.
What a cracker. I used to watch that movie every day. But actually, that ties into our next topic, which we'll get to later. But, yeah, no. So what's another boss that's always stood out to you, Ben?
Okay, I think I might go with some more that you haven't talked about. Just to quickly rattle off a couple, because I made a list. I had to think about it earlier, because I don't instantly come to mind, like, all of them. And one, I don't know if you ended up doing it in the end, was Antheon. One of the bosses in the Vault of Glass raids in Destiny. Was that anything you had to do?
No.
Okay, so that was one of the most fun that I've had playing that. It's so hard and so fulfilling when you finally get to that point to actually verse him, and versing this big, giant, like a better upgrade of a hobgoblin with these people that you probably don't know. What you laughing about, boy?
Just, I don't know. It sounded when you said better upgraded hobgoblin, it just kind of sounded slowed into one thing on like my audio. I don't know if it actually did in your Audacity or anything. It was like hobgoblin.
I was actually taking a minute to enchant you with my many knowledges on bosses. So now I feel invigorated.
Enchant with you. But
no, you should definitely try, and if you can, find a team to play through that, because it's very rewarding. You get some decent gear from it. Did you ever play Diablo as well? Have you played any of the Diablos?
Nope.
So that's a hard one, because Diablo 2 and 3 I've played through both. I haven't played through the original, which is probably... it's just not on my radar at the moment. But at the end of 2, you get to come up against Baal, I believe, sorry. And getting up to him, it's really cool, because you have to fight wave after wave after wave of enemies, and finally he appears, and you've gone through this epic like quest across the desert. And I remember I played it with a heap of friends, and we finally got to it, and he like fucking annihilated most of us. Partly because we had a friend who thought that the main idea was, let's go stand under these flailing things of light coming out of the ground. This seems like a good place to be. Anyway, he's really cool looking, big demonic looking little man. I think is very close to how Diablo would look. Or the alternative out of the two of them is in Diablo 3 versing Diablo himself. The boss battle was really cool. He looks like a big, I guess, closest to a crab man. And again, we played through with my roommates here on split screen, and getting up against him was a lot of fun, where you're transported to this darker place where there's a dark version of Diablo, and there's dark versions of your characters as well, and they're as strong as you, more or less. So, like,
Jeez.
I remember one of my roommates was extremely powerful and a sorcerer, and he kept, like, bringing up these fucking hydras out of the ground, and they'd more or less one-shot me, so I spent 90% of the time just running around in circles. But those kind of things made it a lot of fun, so I thoroughly enjoyed those. And as far as bosses go, I think that they're a good level between how hard and enjoyable the gameplay is. They've got like kind of easily displayed attacks, so you can see when they're coming, and they're not too hard, so you get to enjoy it still.
Yeah, definitely. I like that kind of balance when they're not ridiculously hard, making you just want things to end, you know, like Ansem is right now. But I was trying to think, because I was really on the spot for this one when I decided that this was going to be the topic, and then until about 5 minutes before the show, it's like I haven't thought of a single boss, and none of them are coming to my memory. But I just remembered the very first boss that I ever fought in a game ever, which was Bowser in Super Mario 64. And boy, is that a fun fight. I don't know. I remember spending so much time collecting all the stars with my sister and stuff, all to build up to this one big moment. It was the first time I'd ever experienced that, to take on the big baddie. And I just remember how funny it looked as a tiny little Mario picking up Bowser by his tail and swinging him around into bombs and shit. And the music and everything, and the like a backdrop to it all, like in the fire world and everything. It was really cool. That was a memorable moment. And I remember how happy I was once we beat him as well. I was probably like 6 or 7 at the time, maybe.
That'd be a long time ago.
Yeah, definitely. I was really young, but
young little boy. I was actually going to ask you that question, was what the first boss you could remember was.
Yeah, definitely Bowser. Yeah.
Did you ever play the Spyro, the original Spyro games?
I did. I really can't even remember much of it, though.
Getting to the end and fighting Nasty Nork, running around the fucking thing for so long to get up to him and getting up to speed was a lot of fun, because it was a very simple puzzle, but very enjoyable. And that just kind of jogged my memory when you started talking about the first one that you've actually fought.
So is that the first one that you ever fought?
It's the first one I can remember that I fought. It's either that or, like, maybe an enemy on Yoshi's Island.
Oh, Yoshi's Island is the shit, dude. I don't think I ever finished that, but that was a great game.
It's a good game, yeah. That music is one of the most nostalgic sounds I'll ever hear.
Absolutely.
But I won't go into much detail on this one, though. Another one that I know is an extremely ridiculous boss is one called Terramorphous the Invincible. And you'll soon be coming up against this foe. And by soon, I mean probably in a long time, when we finish finally our Borderlands playthrough, because at the end you're able to verse this guy. And I remember when you get to the end of Borderlands, the level cap is 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you come across Terramorphous the Invincible, who is level 52. And so instantly there's a bit of a discrepancy, and he's just absurdly army. It's just a fucking massive, like, armor and arms and shit, and you're just like, fuck, this is dumb. I'm going to just leave. I'm fine not finishing this optional boss.
There you go. That sounds riveting. I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. It depends how far through Borderlands 2 we get. But if we start playing with all our friends, that sounds great. I mean, if we start playing it with our friends, that sounds awesome. But if you play it by yourself, it sounds like an impossible boss to defeat, which is that good game design? I don't know.
I mean, you can beat it on your own. I remember we've done it, my friends have done it, and we've talked about it. It's just a lot of patience, Sam. A lot of patience there, buddy. Got a little bit of patience.
That's something I don't have much of, Ben. You know, that's a fleeting quality of mine. I'll die like once in a tiny little area of a game, and I'll start getting frustrated. Like, fuck, I just want to continue and get this thing done. But
I know what you do.
What was that?
I just don't know what you must be doing. Don't you feel that, like, by being impatient, you're making it harder on yourself in the end? Isn't that something you sit down and be like,
absolutely? I think having such a big backlog that I have right now, it plays a lot into the frustration. Like, I just want to get shit done. But yeah, it does make it harder. It makes me more tilted and less likely to beat bosses for sure. But one of my favorite boss battles that I can remember is really recent too, in Bloodborne. So my friends Trent and Stuart and I, we were playing through Bloodborne together. I think Stuart was the only one who had actually played the game. And we beat the first optional boss, whose name I cannot remember, Cleric Beast. We beat that, took us all day, and then they came over again the next day. We're like, okay, we'll fight the first mandatory boss. He could be the second one, I can't really remember. But his name was Father Gascoigne, and he has all these attacks that are almost unavoidable. Apparently, he's one of the easier bosses of the game, but it took us all day to beat him as well. And we discovered the best tactic to take him on was something to get us in the mood for the fight. So we got out my Bluetooth speaker and we kept toying with like little tunes and stuff, specifically like 80s rock tunes and stuff like that to like try and really pump us up. And we thought that Midnight Oil song, Beds Are Burning, would be the one to get us through at first, because we nearly beat him with that, and then we kept trying that song and we couldn't do it. And then Have a Nice Day by Bon Jovi started playing. And yeah, coincidentally, our finishing blow was right near the end of the song, like gave him the finishing blow, and then straight away the song was like, have a nice day. It was like most badass feeling moment going. It was pretty cool. So yeah, we spent all day doing that. It was like a big hype moment when we finally beat him, and then we haven't played the game since. But yeah.
Jeez. Bon Jovi coming out with the goods.
Yeah, thank you, John Bon Jovi. You've definitely provided for us there to beat Father Gascoigne. So
you were just you should have known from the start. You were really going to the game. 3 young amateurs. You basically living on a prayer to beat this guy. And
I would have taken him whether I ended up dead or alive.
I was gonna go into that, but I couldn't. I found myself too funny for a small amount of time there. But yeah, that's really cool. That's a great memory.
Oh, that's not the name of the song, though.
No, I was about to say, you can't just recite lyrics.
If Bon Jovi was love, I just gave it a bad name.
Yep.
Anyway.
We're done. We're moving on. So, I think I'll go through a couple that I think you might have fought, but you've not like remembered, or you don't remember doing whatever. You haven't like
would be so many.
Forefront. So you've played through. Have you played through any Borderlands, fucking the BioShock games?
Yep.
Also, you know a Big Daddy. Instantly,
I know Big
one
Daddy.
of the most iconic bosses that you will fight anywhere.
Absolutely.
Those lumbering metal suit diver boys protecting those creepy as fuck little girls that scream when you pick them up, and it's really off-putting that I forgot it happened. And it's just how hard they can be. It's just no one. I feel like they're probably the main thing you'd associate with the BioShock collections.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember being kind of terrified the first time I came up against the Big Daddy, like with the big old drill on his hand and stuff. It was really cool, but I was even more terrified the first time you come up against 2 of them at once, and you're in like that garden area, and it's like all tight hallways and shit, and there's 2 of them running around. I was just like, oh god, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. And I remember I definitely wanted to kill them both though, and I did eventually somehow. But Big Daddies were terrifying.
That room specifically, because I've just finished playing through the first BioShock, and I played through it on the hardest difficulty, which was a bit of an error early on. But I remember coming in that, and I was like, fuck, I can't kill a Big Daddy normally as it is now. How the fuck am I going to kill both these? But something magical happened. I accidentally shot one. I was like, oh, shit, fuck, I'm fucked. And it was one of the ones who actually shoot at you. I can't remember the name. Rosies. It was one of the Rosies. And I ran around a corner, and another Big Daddy was in front of me, and the Rosie accidentally shot the bouncer, and I just watched 2 Big Daddies go at it and fight. And I had never seen that in the BioShock game, for me, it was really cool. I just fucking brawled it out.
Yeah, I didn't even know that could happen. That's awesome.
Neither did I. So that was pretty cool. And then I reckon the trick is you just have to throw the security bomb onto the Big Daddies and just have those fucking little bots come out and kill them.
Yeah.
Easy win every time. But yeah, no, I reckon that was one that might have slipped your mind. And a lot of people wouldn't consider them bosses. Like, I wouldn't think of them in the same vein as a boss, even though they are. Because they're definitely mini bosses when you're up against them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another game that I think you have played off the top of my head that you've said is the God of War games.
Oh, God, yeah. Ages
ago.
Which one? I haven't played all of them.
1 or 2?
3. But,
so you played 1 and 2?
Yeah.
So I couldn't choose my favorite boss out of a boss from 1 and 2. So the one I chose from 1 is obviously Ares. Just instantly Ares, because you fight through this game. It's the first God of War. The cool mechanics. It's like its own unique world, and it was so fucking well done. And Kratos goes through all his like tribulations, and it takes him so long to actually get there. And there's so much, and you kind of feel like you're part of Kratos' journey. And you get to the end finally to Ares, who has caused so much fucking shit for you that you found out throughout playing through the game. And to finally be able to fight him is just so like, it's so cool. And you go to the sword that you run across during the game and using it to fight him at the same time. It's just, very monumental moment. I remember coming out there and being made into a giant boy.
Yeah, absolutely. That is pretty cool. You actually kind of just reminded me of something. It's not necessarily a boss battle, but it kind of acts as one. You know how some games, they might not necessarily have bosses, but they'll have a tough area for you to get through to replace bosses. So for me, that's the last area in The Last of Us. When you're going through the hospital, that's definitely a super standout one. And you just reminded me of it because you said you felt like you were along with Kratos' journey. You definitely feel like you were that with Joel and Ellie, and knowing that like what's happening to Ellie, that she's on that hospital table and what shit's going to go down. You're just kind of plowing through everyone, and you know, making that journey to Ellie is it's one of the most badass moments I can think of through games. And I can't remember if I found it incredibly tough or not. I think I might have died a couple of times because I don't think I brought much ammo or gear into that fight. But yeah, no, that's definitely a standout for me. That's one of my favorite moments in gaming as a whole, actually.
Yeah, no, it's very deep. I think it's on another level, how much you can like relate to the story of Joel and Ellie, because it is a lot more human, and there are like a lot of aspects during that game where they both grow a lot as humans. And I think anyone who had to experience something similar to that, even on the minute scale, will instantly relate to that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Making the game just that much better.
Yeah, Naughty Dog are kind of the champions of characterization and making making characters and stories relatable. In saying that, though, just to compare one Naughty Dog game with another, I always felt that most of the boss fights in the Uncharted games, except for the last one in Uncharted 4, felt really out of place and not too great. I really love the Uncharted games, but I was just like, oh no, these bosses are a bit weird, especially Uncharted 2's last boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was really cool though. Like, I kind of like the idea that there was this thing that made them, like, it just activated how strong you could be and you could heal and stuff. And it was almost made a bit more of a realistic take on magic in a world, like there being the ability to have some magic, which is like a nice thing to think that there is some form of magic. And I know you believe that as a young kid, which and that's some of your best blissful times of your life. So being able to go in through a world that has that small amount of it was cool, but I can't understand how you'd think it was out of place. I do, to an extent, think the same thing.
Yeah, I still think that they're great games, though, and the moments that come from those fights and stuff are great, too. But, yeah, I don't know. Another boss battle that's really stood out to me as well, though, is Ganondorf from the Twilight Princess, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which was the first...
Open with that?
Sorry?
How didn't you open with that? Come on.
How didn't I open with that? I don't know. I just realized that I had it written down. I'd skipped over him after Mitsuo to Father Gascoigne, and I forgot that I'd written him down. But that's an awesome boss battle. That was the first Zelda game that I ever finished. And boy, was that a fucking experience. I still need to finish Breath of the Wild and beat him there. But yeah, no, I really loved that fight and the whole journey there. A lot of people seem a bit iffy on Twilight Princess. For me, it's probably still my favorite Zelda so far.
Yeah. I definitely need to play through more than one of them because I never had like the opportunity to play them. Excuse me. And I only played one on emulator, I believe, and I played a little bit of your fucking Breath of the Wild. We did a stream way back, which was fun. But yeah, no, it's made me definitely keen to play them. I've only ever watched people play through it and fight on it, though, unfortunately. So it would be good to sink my fucking hands into it one day. Just get in there and, you know, just grab Link and move him like a fucking puppet.
Absolutely. Surely you have a Wii lying around somewhere. Everyone does. Get on it.
Nope.
You don't?
Nope. No Wii's.
What do you live in? A third world country? Nah, I joke. But yeah, no, fair enough.
Fucking hell.
Have you got any more bosses that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I'll say one more. Two more, actually, I'll go into. Talking about bosses that we come across early on that I think are very like well known to people, and I'm going to go with Dr. Nefarious from the Ratchet and Clank series.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually.
Mr. Dr. Nefarious. I don't know, did you play the original Ratchet and Clank 3? Yeah, you did?
Yeah, I've played all of the Ratchet and Clank games, except for the PS3 ones, yeah.
I don't want to say something that you haven't played, but yeah, fighting him in that one was really fun, and the way that they reimagined but also took a lot of elements for the new Ratchet and Clank, like the one that released on PS4 to fight Nefarious is just really cool. And it's got that art style of Ratchet and Clank that everyone can enjoy, and the fact that it's not overtly hard. It's just like small things you need to do. And like I remember I had to try through a couple of times when I played on hard because like you don't like you misread something, which is good because like I thought it'd be a lot easier coming from like an Insomniac game and such. But no, I had a lot of fun playing through and having that nostalgia that I reckon a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really like all of the boss battles in most Ratchet and Clank games, especially in Ratchet and Clank 2 in the Colosseum there. There are some fun ones to play too. But yeah, Dr. Nefarious, especially in the new one, was awesome. Although my memories of that boss have kind of been not ruined, but kind of muddled by the fact that I had to play through that game 7 times to get the Platinum Trophy because one trophy just wouldn't pop. And I was invincible and had all the weapons upgraded fully and stuff to the point where I could beat him in under a minute. And that just like, I don't know, it kind of muddied my memory of that boss battle a little bit. But I vaguely remember the first time I fought him, it was a lot of fun and kind of challenging. But
as a man who says he has no patience to be able to play through that game so many times. Doesn't make any sense, man.
I wanted that platinum trophy, man. But no, it comes to the point where you unlock enough sort of, I can't remember whether they're called bonuses or extras or something, where you can have unlimited like health and shit. You can breathe through the whole game in about 40 minutes. If you skip all the cutscenes and just hold down shoot on the Rhino gun when you have that fully equipped, you can just breathe through the whole game.
You can breathe and you finish the game.
Yeah, just
I got the game. I breathed 6 times and I finished it fully platinumed.
Correct. Yeah, it's a game that they developed for people with no hands. That was the only way to play it, just by breath input.
Look, I would have been
called
quicker.
Breathalyzer 2018 simulator.
Everyone's expecting this dumb fucking simulator. Actually, no, it was an addition to Ratchet and Clank 3, but you have to buy Breath fucking Simulator 2017 to get the Ratchet and Clank game. That's how they get you. Good old Insomniac.
That'll get you every time. Bloody Insomniac. Were there any more bosses that you wanted to talk about? Any
more bosses? Not really. I did want to get a little bit of passing info for you. What for you makes a good boss? Is it like the art style, the controls, their like attacks, the environment, the story? What is it that gets a boss for you to be like that big, really cool, impactful boss?
Yeah, okay. So for me, I feel like story payoff is a massive thing. So the reason for you being there is a big thing for me. The motivation of the boss and your character is huge, especially the environment as well. Like some of the ones that stood out to me were fought in really cool environments, especially Mitsuo in Persona 4. Or Father Gascoigne was a really cool one as well. And Bowser at the time was great too. They're fought in really cool, sort of grandiose environments. Some of my least favorite boss battles aren't, for example, what's her name? Ursula in Kingdom Hearts. That's just a great background, nothing to it. And that fight is tedious as all hell as well. But then there's another boss battle in Kingdom Hearts that I really like too, which is in Traverse Town, sort of the first boss that you ever fight. That was really cool. It was in a really cool spot, and it was the first kind of challenge of the game. I feel like a boss feeling like a challenge, but not to the point where it's unbeatable and frustrating, is awesome. I don't want to have to spend too much time on the boss, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's also the good thing too, that most games you know what you're getting most of the time. Like when you went into Kingdom Hearts, you knew that there was a bit of a learning curve into it, right? And you know that some of the bosses are a bit hard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's a good thing about games, that it is easily like know what skill level you need to be to play a game. But the best part is that regardless of what game you're playing, what genre, what you're playing it on, etc., there is always room to have a boss fight. And a good way that I just stumbled across this as a boss fight when I was doing a little bit of research earlier, but the fact that if you think about the Guitar Hero franchise, right? You don't really think of a boss fight. But the fact that you play through the Fire and Flames at the end of it, which is even hard for someone who found easy not to be like the easiest thing, if that's your skill level, through the Fire and Flames on easy even is a challenge. And so to think that for me, to have a boss fight is something that where you work up towards it and it's the final payoff, and that you feel like that you've achieved something during it.
Yeah.
That for me, what really entails a boss. And that's mainly for like final boss when I'm saying that. And that's the same for mini bosses or like progressional bosses, where by beating them, it's not something that's brushed off. You actually have a marker that you can move to, or you have something physical that you're shown, or the story progresses and everyone like acknowledges that you've done this, where it's an achievement that really makes a game worth playing. And yeah, so I think bosses, for me, honestly, the main thing that will make it is that sense of achievement and having the ability to work through it and just work out how to beat them. That's why they're there, right?
Absolutely, I agree. I do really like the sense of achievement after beating one. Like when I beat Ansem's second form the other day, I was like, "Fuck yeah, awesome! Huge sense of achievement." Straight into an even harder fight. That's impossible. But yeah, like the sense of achievement that you get when you beat it, really, it is something kind of truly special, I suppose.
Yeah.
I had another point to add on to that, and now it's totally forgotten. Now that I'm thinking about Ansem and getting frustrated about that. No, that's what it was. Another thing that constitutes for a boss fight for me especially, it's in specific games, but if it's a game where you have multiple different abilities that you've learned throughout the course of the game, especially if it's a final boss, if it involves you using all of those abilities in special patterns and stuff or doing different tasks to beat the boss, I really like that too. So memorizing an attack pattern and then all of a sudden one ability that you were just using, you can't use. You need to use a different tactic all of a sudden and stuff like that. I really like those kinds of bosses too, which... Persona seems to do a lot as well, which I really like.
But yeah, an example of that.
Yeah, making you think on your feet is awesome. An example of that, if I were to do Persona, my prime example for that you're not up to. But
okay, so is there a point where you're forced to use something else?
Yeah, so you're fighting a boss, it's like, he's immune to any magic. You have to use physical attacks. So you're using all your physical attacks, all your characters that you have with you might not suit to that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, this boss is immune to physical. You have to use this specific type of magic. Maybe only one of your characters has that kind of magic. It makes you really think on your feet when you're recruiting your team. You need to think about how you're going to adapt and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, good example. Well done, you definitely passed.
I've passed your test?
Yeah. What have you knocked over? What's gone?
I've just been fiddling with an insulin pump cartridge, and I dropped it. I've got to stop fiddling with shit on podcasts.
You've got to keep it off camera. That's the way to do it, man.
Next time, can you come to Orange and just like handcuff me behind?
No, because that sounds awful. I won't be playing that out for you.
Handcuff me.
As many of you around the world know, there is no way to handcuff someone without it being kinky, and that's why there's so much controversy around policemen.
Yeah, everyone getting arrested is like, daddy.
I've been waiting for this all day. Been throwing bricks through people's windows, waiting for you to come pick me up.
That's
you better make sure those restraints are tight, because I can get out of anything. I'm much like weasel or something like squid.
Filthy. But do you want to move on to topic 2?
Hell no.
Hell no.
You can't make me.
I can't make you.
Sure.
Topic 2
the show.
now. As a lot of you would have seen over the week, the Wreck-It Ralph 2 trailer came out, and we wanted to talk about our favorite animated Disney movies, which is animated Disney movies. I have no idea why I said it that way.
I'm not sure if you just had a stroke or you meant to do that.
Mom didn't move it. How much dedicated whammy nib durva? Have you seen that meme?
Yeah.
How much did they whamp durva?
I think that last week has overflown into this week, because you had some troubles last week pronouncing words, and that's normally me.
It's just been 1 week-long stroke, but
stroke of genius, more like it.
Hey, I don't think so. I disagree. But animated Disney movies, what's your favorite? 3, 2, 1, go.
It's Mulan.
Milan. This counts everything Pixar, everything old school, everything.
I still think every time I'll say this always that Disney and Pixar basically should be blended into the same thing when we talk about this, because you made the point earlier that you can see a difference between Disney movies and Pixar movies, but that's the same with Pixar movies There's definitely always going to be a variance in quality and story and things of the sort. And I don't know, as a kid, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And so I hate when I make a comment, I'm like, oh, I like this one. I was like, oh, but it's not Pixar. I'm like, I don't fucking care if it's not Pixar. It's close enough. That'll fucking do.
Hang on real quick.
Put your petty shit.
The guys are letting the dog into the house. I think he's going to start barking, and then that's all you're going to be able to hear. I'll be back in a sec.
Now that we've achieved getting fucking Sam out of the room, we can finally get this show on the road. But yeah, no, I definitely think that Mulan is my favorite Disney movie. I don't know if I should talk too much about it because we'll come back and Sam's going to be like asking these exact same questions. But if you are watching, what's your favorite Disney movie? What's one that's Disney mini Pixar as well? Or wait, all two people will wait. Interesting. Here he is. It's focused. He's back. It only took 30 seconds.
Well, that was eventful. Took 30 whole seconds. God damn. Where did we leave off? I totally forget.
Oh, I said Mulan and saying that Disney movies should be like all in the same genre if you're saying it. I hate people that nitpick you because you say a Pixar movie when they said Disney.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I
hate
mean, it's fair enough to rope him into the same thing. Someone was giving me shit for saying Mulan was tied for one of my favorite animated Disney movies as well.
It was because there's going to be...
The host of the Arrogant Aussies, that bastard. He's like, oh, Mulan sucks. I was like, Mulan's fucking good.
I will straight up come and kick that kid in the teeth.
Do it.
No fucking cares. If he talks shit about Mulan, I'm going to come cut his head off with a Mulan sword.
Mulan's fantastic. And then I was like, don't you like the Be a Man song? And then, I don't know, he gave me a big old burn about that. I can't even remember what it was. But it hurt, but yeah, no, Mulan's fantastic. I think he was saying that The Lion King was definitely the best. I can't quite remember. But,
I mean, is it?
It's up there.
I mean, it's good because it is a great story, but isn't there the controversy that it was stolen from another movie? Like, isn't the idea that it's not an original concept?
It's Hamlet.
No, but it's like off like some like Chinese White Lion movie, The White Lion or something. Have you not seen that?
The thing that I've always heard was that it was just Hamlet. Never heard of this White Lion business, but
there's like a movie that's animated and it's made basically the same kind of story, but it was never big and it was in Japan or somewhere.
Right, there you go.
The Lion King. So yeah, there you go. Lion King is a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm never going to say it's not. Not really going to argue that any part of it's not good, except for someone offended Mulan, so I've just got to attack whatever they said was the best.
Mulan is great. Mulan's tied with Aladdin for my favorite. I really like Aladdin. But that's old school. Like, I don't know. Toy Story for me, man. Toy Story has a special place in my growing up and upbringing and whatnot. I've always loved it. I think it's one of the best trilogies of all time. So
I think you're about to do what Alex did to you when you said Mulan was your favorite. Because tied close to first for me is Mulan and Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
See, I mean, a lot of people don't think it's that great. I'm a big fan. I think like it appeals to like a large like adult audience. It's got some really funny moments, like just absolutely absurd. It was a bit more of a left-sided thing compared to what Disney normally done. It had liberal agendas. Liberal agendas.
But yeah, no, I really like Lilo and Stitch as well. It's not up there with one of my favorites, but it's not a bad movie by any means. No. I think there's a lot of reasons for it to be someone's favorite for sure.
Yeah, but so this whole topic for me, and we've talked about this a lot, is hard to go through because we both watch a lot of fucking Disney, or have, and probably still do.
Yep.
So I think the main thing, or the easiest thing to do here, is not say what our favorite ones are that we like. What are some of the ones that you don't enjoy much, like comparatively?
Oh, is he Brave is right up there. Didn't like Brave.
Why's that?
Watched it. I was bored the whole way through. I just couldn't relate to the character at all. I didn't really think the story was interesting.
Man, you're not a young red-headed lass.
It's a beautifully animated movie. I'll give it that. But yeah, no, I just could never get behind Brave. What's that dog one? The whatever in the Tramp.
Lady and the Tramp?
Lady and the Tramp. Couldn't get behind that.
What the shit? Damn.
Hunchback of Notre Dame. That scared the shit out of me when I was little, and I haven't watched it since. So I don't really know about that one.
It's not a bad movie, but that's my main criticism as well. It terrified me as a child.
Yeah, I just remember looking at what's his name?
Quasimodo.
What's his name? Quasimodo. Yeah, I just remember looking at him and be like, nah, can't do it. Get me out of here. But
I'm young Sam and get me out of here.
Yeah, that's how I said it to my parents. They put it on. I just looked at him, pointed at him, and was like, "Get me out of here!" But
so my least favorite is pretty easy. Is fucking a movie Mars Needs Mums.
Is that a Disney movie?
Yeah, I fucking hated that.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, that looks like total shit. There are some that you don't really know are Disney movies that just came out and no one really watched, I guess.
That and fuck, I didn't. The Cars 2 was pretty fucking rough, and then Planes came out.
Wow.
Planes was a thing for a while.
I haven't seen Planes. The Cars 2, man, I forgot about that movie. That's
a superhero.
Cars 1. So that came out when I was like 10, maybe 9. And I loved that movie so much. When it came out on DVD, I watched it every single day. I played the shit out of the video game so much on my original Xbox. And then Cars 2 came out. I was like, oh yeah, nostalgia trip. Let's go. Like, might do the Piston Cup 2. Then maybe it would be like, he did what in his cup again? Or something like that. I don't know. And then it was just pure spy shit.
It's word for word, except at the end of the movie, he says, he did what in his cup again? And then that's it. Regret.
I just wanted to hear Owen Wilson go, wow, ka-chow, again.
Ka-chow, wow.
Ka-chow.
Watch-ow.
Watch-ow.
Go.
But, yeah, no, Cars 2, holy shit, that's a repressed memory. Toy Story 3, I love that movie so much, but...
Yeah.
But the end of that movie made me fucking sad and angry, and I think it was really bad.
What made you angry about it mainly, though? I can understand the sad bit.
He picked up my childhood, those toys, he picked them up. Some little girl who I knew nothing about is like, here, have Sam's childhood. Here you go. I was just like, fuck you,
so
Andy.
You're not angry at the movie, you're just angry that they made you sad and stole your feelings.
I'm just angry that they gave my childhood to some little girl I had no connection with. I grew up with Andy.
That's
like,
how
Andy's
it is. Didn't you give
your in every movie? I don't know how I was attached to him. I remember watching that movie. It's like, fuck you, Andy. I used to love you, man, but now you're just like, I'm cutting all ties. You're no longer an older brother.
You got some deep-seated feelings there, buddy.
Disowned.
Good old Andy. Who was your Andy, though?
Movie.
You're Andy, fuck you. Don't worry, not worth it. Yeah, no, fair enough. I understand where you're coming from. I don't agree, but I understand you
I think it's a
hating
pretty
it because
invalid
it steals your
point.
Yeah. But also with Disney movies, basically anything that's a fucking sequel is trash.
Toy Story 2 and 3.
Basically everything. Oh, actually, no, that's really hard because Monsters Inc. is fucking brilliant, and Monsters University was still pretty damn good.
The Lion King 2 is really good.
Lion King 2 is very good.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I don't really watch them, but you really like the High School Musicals, don't you? I
like some of the songs from them. I grew up watching them with my older sister. I wouldn't say I like the movies per se, but some of the songs that I can get behind, yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough then. Now I'm thinking of, because like the one that jumps to mind all the time is like Mulan 2 wasn't amazing, and then like Atlantis Milo's Return wasn't like great either. They were two.
Isn't Atlantis 2?
Yeah, I mean it's just it's weird.
Does Michael J. Fox voice him again?
Yeah, I mean I haven't watched it for a long time, but I think so.
I really like the first one.
Yeah. What do you think out of Disney movies is the most underrated of the movies? And my answer is easily Treasure Planet, because I really like that movie. And it doesn't come into conversation. Yeah. Like people don't bring that in conversation as their favorite Disney movie because it sits somewhere that I'd probably call a gray zone for Disney movies, where people don't hate it, but they don't find it their favorite. But I still think it's easily one of my favorites up there. Like not the classics. But it's such a good story, and like the coming of age kind of thing, and growing up, and had like good humor.
I think one of the problems with Treasure Planet is it came out at a time for people around our age that we probably don't remember it too well. Probably watched it when it came out and never watched it again. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people just forget that it exists, and I really fucking like that movie as well. I've watched that movie a lot. It's fantastic. It's where I first learned the concept of a cyborg. And I'm now pretty much a cyborg too, because I have an insulin pump for my diabetes. But
and I'm still here, so I'm technically from the movie as well. because
Sure.
I'm still here. Dun-dun.
You're an idiot.
I'm also much like Morph. I can shapeshift into anything I like. I just choose not to.
True.
Mm-hmm. I've had something else to say from. Oh, I'm also that weird fart monster that you have to speak flatulence to. That's a weird thing.
I forgot about that.
I'm fluent in flatulence, Jim. Took 2 years of it at high school.
Great. If I'm going to talk about underrated Disney movies, you've got that at the top, and then Atlantis, because no one says that's their favorite, and it should be up there.
I don't
Hercules.
love it.
Hercules is really good as well. And Peter Pan. Peter Pan's really good, but that's a really old one too. I feel like
everyone knows
probably
Peter
watched
Pan.
it.
Everyone likes that.
I know that movie came out in the 50s.
Jeez. No, it came out a long, long,
I'm
long
pretty
time
sure it
ago.
was the 50s. I'm gonna Google that. But yeah, actually, because we started this topic with kind of the concept of Wreck-It Ralph, how do you feel about that movie?
I really liked Wreck-It Ralph. I thought it was a good movie. It was enjoyable to watch. It's like
came out in
not crazy. Yeah, sorry. It's like not crazy stand out above everything, but like it's a solid movie. Like it has a good story. The pacing of it's really good. The idea that just because like you appear to be something doesn't mean you actually are is really cool. And like with all Disney movies, they have those cool themes. And it kind of started to move towards more modern things, I guess. Because all of the Disney movies are like either set super future or like in the past kind of thing. So, yeah, no, it was really cool.
Yeah,
and this new one looks very interesting.
It does, except I'll watch it. I liked Wreck-It Ralph 1, but that little girl, man, she annoys the shit out of me. She really does. I reckon she holds the whole first movie back so much, and it looks like she's going to hold this whole second movie back.
Sam hasn't actually said it, but he prefers to watch the original movie with her completely taken out, her lines and her character, but they don't change anything else. So there's just bits of just nothing that he much prefers.
I actually
does that with a lot of movies too.
No, I actually made my own cut where I wrote my own script for her lines and did the VO as well. So there's actually a cut with me out there where Ralph would be like, "Yeah, g'day, what's her name? Veronica." So "G'day, Veronica," and I'd be like, "Yeah, g'day, Ralph. There you go, mate." And then we just kind of go from there and be like, "Hey, you want a few stubbies, champion?" And then he'd be like, "Oh, we got to rip the race to free you from the fucking Candyland." And I'll be like, "Oh, let's just fucking crack some VB." And yeah, anyway.
"Oh, you fucking bitch, you sabotaged my car. I just saw Ralph make it there earlier. Nothing was wrong. And all of a sudden I leave and I come back and you fucking done something to my car, you little bitch."
Yeah, that's exactly right. And if anything, it's a much better movie for it. But I'll watch Wreck-It Ralph too. I liked the trailer. It was very well made. I'll just try to get past the little girl. Actually, Disney movies that we don't like, WALL-E. It's not a good movie. I dislike it.
I can irritated by that. I can agree to disagree.
The whole first hour is just him going, "Wally, Eva, Wally, Eva."
Well, okay, so like I'll just let you know that like out there in a world outside of yonder, there's a big town, Barnaby. Listen, Barnaby. Put on your Sunday, just gotta ride through town. I think that's the song for it. I really hope so. No, I fucking love WALL-E. WALL-E's a good movie. And it does probably have a left-wing agenda that fucking save the trees and shit. And the fact that you can get cupcake in a cup? What? Come on, you can't say you're not all about that. And boot trees? Get with it.
Everything I want in a movie. Cupcake cups, boot trees.
Fucking hell.
Humans who have no bones anymore because they're too fat and lazy.
Oh, yeah.
That movie's a piece of shit. Hated that as a kid. Jeez. I watched it again like 2 or 3 movies ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Hated it still. Although actually I played the video game of it on Nintendo Wii and I really liked the game.
Average game.
I really liked the game.
It's average.
It had the dumbest Wii motion gimmicks that I really bought into as a kid. I was like,
if it was the motion gimmicks that got you, not the actual game, I'll accept that. But otherwise, nah.
Fantastic.
You know what? I'm pretty happy to just wrap it there before you shit on something else that I love.
No.
Fair enough, then. Fair enough.
Fuck your family. No, I'm kidding.
Jeez, man.
Your family's full of lovely people, actually.
Yeah,
Really like
that's fucking absurd. You just took it up
All
to
right.
6.
I did. It was like, what's something he loved? And then family was the first thing that popped in my head. So I just rolled with it. I don't got time
nice
to think.
thought. What's something he loves? He loves his family.
Oh, man.
Welcome to the wholesome cast.
Yeah, welcome to wholesome posting. Alrighty. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. And I didn't come up with an improv scenario for Ben to finish. I've just realized.
Really? I can come up with one on the spot for you if you'd like.
Go for it. Hit me.
Okay. So, we'll go with the fact that it's the year 3036, right? The fedora wearers have taken over. They've amassed an army of respecting women and tipping their hats. And you're the last line of defense against the refugees that have escaped them. And they're sitting outside the castle walls, and you need to have an inspirational speech in the most Australian way you can, using a lot of our sayings and slang words. And you've got about 30 seconds to let them know that the only way that they can survive is by hunkering down and liking and subscribing to Banter Lab. All right, so the attack is beginning. The gate's under attack. They're ramming the gates. There's thunder and lightning, and you're amidst the castle walls, and your speech is about to begin. Give the people spirit.
G'day, you fucking coppers. How you going? My name's Sam, and like you seem to be in a bit of a stitch-up, bit of biff going on here, and I don't really like the fact that you're doing that kind of shit. Doesn't really fly with me. So I thought I'd give you a quick old message about as quick as a kangaroo flipping down the plains. And you know, the one thing that you got to do to really solve this fucking conflict is a bit of a hoo-ha, you know, that's going on. Is you need to fucking like and subscribe and get straight up the guts of that Banter Lab, you know. So the CasualCast. It's up every fucking Wednesday, so just get around that, champion, and fucking, you know, pop for your skewies while you listen, and you're set. There'll be nothing to bloody brawl about at all. So that's up every Wednesday on iTunes and all other podcast services, or you can fucking just watch it on YouTube if you're a lazy cunt and you just like, you know, to watch it topic by topic and stuff like that. Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays is posted up there. You can also leave a review if you want. If you want to put some fucking positivity into this goddamn rock that we're all floating on, give us a 5-star review, give us a comment and see what's going on, champion. And yeah, look, that's about all there is to it. Oh, especially this Wednesday, definitely go to check out the Bunker, because who doesn't love the fucking footy on a Friday night? Can't like, oh, everyone loves the fucking footy. So we just thought we'd have a big old yarn about that. So if you want to get your head around that, also up Wednesdays on iTunes and all podcast services, hopefully this week. If not, it'll be on our fucking YouTube, mate. So I'm done. I can't think of anything else to say. How do I wrap it?
I was going to give you an 8 until you plugged the love to fucking footy, so it's an 8.5. Lost points for missing a couple of cultural references there. Not missing, but not hitting on as many as I thought you could. I just think you could do a bit more. Lost some points for making him sound like a fucking squeaker. That's some points. I was going for Junkrat. Bit higher pitched. But yeah, look,
Happy birthday!
Don't count
if no one plays Overwatch, you won't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, much better effort than last week. But alas, that is the end of the CasualCast episode 26. As a good old Seamus, our friend, just mentioned, make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment, and be ready for each part of the podcast being uploaded Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the full thing released Wednesday on all podcast services. As always, I have been Ben, here with Mr. Samuel Nick, and until next time, au revoir.
Goodbye. Where's the fucking stop button? There we go.